Yo, okay, all right. So, shit, my bad. Welcome back to Say Less. It's your boy Kaz here live and direct. Thank you so much for subscribing on Spotify, Google, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you get podcasts. And now, if you're using the magic of technology and watching me on YouTube. So, thank you guys for subscribing. But if you haven't done it yet, go to youtube.com/Kazim, and you will get all the video versions of these quick little daily podcasts that I've been doing called Say Less. So if you like it, share it, rate it, tell a friend. If you don't, that's cool too. Don't really care. Just doing this to keep, my sanity. So a great guest that we have today, somebody who I've known for quite a long time. She's an incredible person, and I'm always a lot happier when I can get a fellow Nigerian on the show. Everybody always talks about, Nigerians always working, always got a million jobs, and Chiney is absolutely one of those people. Not only is she a forward for the Los Angeles Sparks, but she's also a full-time analyst on ESPN. You can catch her on many shows, including The Jump, First Take, everything like that. So everybody make some noise for my good friend Chiney Ogwumike. What's up, Chiney?
Thank you, my friend. This is so amazing. It's so official.
Yeah. You know what? Shout out to StreamYard. I was doing the straight up podcast thing for a while. So you're literally like my third video guest. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So this is like, I'm starting to build up this thing a little bit. Since,
3 is a good number.
Really
I'll take it.
Absolutely. How you been, man? How you holding up during quarantine?
Well, I've been good, honestly. You said it, us Africans, we don't know how to chill. So I've been sort of in this sprint. So if you follow the NBA, which I'm sure that 99% of the people that follow the NBA, we sort of turn up at Christmas time, NBA on Christmas Day. And that's sort of when I kind of turn up too, because a lot of those broadcasters, some people go on vacation, some people don't, some people are working, whatever. So from the end of December through January and February, I'm on my sprint. I'm on my horse, coast to coast, based in LA, going to New York, going to Connecticut. And unfortunately, this time, which has been so scary, and I hope everyone's safe, washing their hands, taking care of one another, social distancing, all of the above. But this time has allowed me to just rest and be and chill and just kind of reset my mind, because I was going at light speed for a long time. And now it's okay, this is the break I need to sort of see a little bit clearer and to understand things a little bit better. So I just finished Tiger King. I just finished the latest season of Ozark.
We're going to talk Tiger King in a little bit. We're going to talk about everything that we've been doing during this quarantine. But you mentioned it, man. It's, people like yourself, it's hard for us to just kind of shut off. We're always just kind of on go mode. And this is almost like God just being like, yo, calm down. Relax.
Won't he do it?
So,
Won't he do it?
We don't know how to shut off. But obviously, like most people, we've known you from the hoops world and from college to WNBA. And now people are just starting to see this incredible personality that you have as an ESPN analyst. So I would just love to know. And we met way back, even during Bleacher Report days. And
we met in the Adidas days when Adidas was popping, too popping. Honestly, too popping.
Well, shout out to the Three Stripes. We still showing love, but yeah, man. So I would love to know, when exactly did you know you wanted to get into broadcasting? Because I remember when I was in BR, you would come through the office and kind of see what we were doing, and I was like, oh, okay, I think this is going to be something that she does after her career. But no, you were like, I'm doing this now. So when did you know?
I did not know. I always tell people, my family, I have 3 sisters. Nneka is a boss, WNBA MVP champion. 2 younger sisters. The baby could possibly get drafted in a few days. Younger sister right below me, she's in her MBA. I'm just a middle child, right? So I'm the one that gets to explore and have fun and sort of find my voice. We all play sports. We all play basketball, obviously. And we fell into basketball and fell in love with it. I say the same thing happened to me in broadcasting. I fell into broadcasting and sort of fell in love with it. I sort of, like you mentioned, was going around, learning a lot about the business, trying to be a little bit marketable back in the day, 2014. And eventually, I get drafted to the Connecticut Sun in 2014. And in our backyard is ESPN. Now, at the time, I didn't know that I would be working for ESPN a couple years later, but I just pretty much started saying yes to every opportunity because I got injured twice. And oh my God, I almost like kill myself with my swallowing. Don't worry, I'm okay. I'm okay.
I was about to say, you can't talk too loud. I'm like,
you want me to do a push-up for you? I'm good, bro. I'm good. Want me to hold my breath for 10 seconds?
There it is. There it is. If you don't cough after the 10 seconds, then you're good. You're good.
Wait.
Hopefully you're good. 3. There you go. You're good. You're live.
I did 20 just for you. Okay, so what happened was I got injured. I got injured twice, and that's when I realized I can't play basketball forever. And so I was like, okay, let me say yes to all these opportunities. One thing turned into another. I always tell people my first TV gig, which I didn't really know, I just said yes to, was working for the Pac-12 networks. And on the Pac-12 networks, they're like, hey, will you come to the women's basketball tournament and do some appearances for us? I was like, okay, sure. It was interviewing mascots. Like literally, mascots don't talk. They don't talk. And I was saying,
how do those interviews even go?
I don't know. I was just on this train that was moving around San Francisco, just like out here with these mascots vibing while on Pac-12 networks. And then I just started saying yes and kept saying yes. And I guess, through those injuries and those time periods in which I was home and just recovering, getting my way back, one thing turned into the other. And then yes turned into, okay, Chiney, will you go on to First Take? Will you go on to His and Hers? Will you now be an NBA analyst? We see what you're doing on the other platforms. You're passionate about basketball. Hoops is hoops, period. Will you talk about the NBA? And that happened in December 2018. And then it manifested into being a full-time NBA analyst, which is really cool. It's so much fun. But I never, ever, ever planned this at all.
Well, I mean, you've been killing it because, obviously I know people that watch you on TV and don't even realize oh yeah, no, she hoops for real. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh.
It's not like she's just talking and whatnot. She actually balls out. So, now you're kind of in a weird space where not only we don't know when the WNBA is coming back, we don't know when sports is coming back. We don't know when, ESPN is going to continue its regular sort of schedule and kind of having you back in the silo in the mix. So how have you been kind of maintaining sanity throughout this entire ordeal?
Yeah, I haven't been pressing, and you talk about it. It's so funny. It's annoying because I'll go places and they're like, oh, do you still hoop? I'm like, yes, I still hoop. Support the WNBA. A lot of people come out and have so many different things to say about our league, but once you come to a game or meet us in person, you catch a different energy and you're fans, right? So it's just funny I have to deal with that. But so ever since this has happened, I've had options like, Chiney, will you come on and talk about the Olympics postponement or the NBA? What are you hearing from players? What is the best idea moving forward? And I've just, after all these years of saying yes, I'm finally saying no.
No is a privilege.
No is absolutely a privilege. And I'm not saying no out of disrespect or anything. It's just kind of why don't we take a second? Because this is bigger than us. This is bigger than sports. People are out there fighting for their lives across the world. And we're, and it's hard to figure out where we fit into that narrative when it comes to hooping. Are we ready to go back? When we go back, are we going to be safe? Do we have the proper protocols? What's the best environment for us to be able to have a product that everyone will love? Will fans be there or not? I don't have those answers. I really don't. And so ever since this has happened, I've sort of just taken a step back and just said, no, let me think, let me breathe, and let me just try to figure out where we can move forward. I'm on the WNBPA and vice president. My sister Neck is the president. We just had an amazing CBA, which accomplished so much for women, not women in sports, just women, period. And now we're at a place where it's okay, we want to make sure our league is out there, and we want to be those people that can really uplift people during these times, but we want to do it the right way. So I think it's just been me taking a step back, just brainstorming, thinking, plotting, talking to athletes, talking to friends. And when we're ready, we'll make the right decision. And when that happens, then you'll see your girl saying yes again. But right now, I'm enjoying my Netflix.
As you should. I mean, obviously, the timing couldn't have been worse, because I remember, when the new CBA went out, and the pay raises and just the amenities that these incredible women are going to get now. And you were at the front lines of that on Good Morning America, announcing it. And I just remember having my old show and just being like, yo, this is going to change everything for women's sports. Not even just like women's basketball. Like now, like by the time, if you're my age and you have a daughter, by the time she's older or the age where she could kind of like get into a pro sport, it will, the disproportionate money and opportunities won't necessarily be like that anymore. And this is a huge step for it. So just take me into the war rooms and the arguments and the back and forths of
let me grab my phone. Let me show you. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me make sure none of y'all seeing my business because somebody just called.
Yeah. Check that too. Don't swipe too much. Don't swipe too much to the left.
Let me clear my phone real quick so you don't see who's on the notifications. So it's just funny because you talk about the CBA and a lot of people are saying that it was a groundbreaking agreement, right? Like a groundbreaking agreement. But the more I've had separation from Good Morning America and all that amazing social media support and just different athletes coming together, I'm realizing that it was more ground establishing, meaning the reason why it really resonated with a lot of women and our society in general was because what we fought for, we thought were standards. But now we're realizing that most people don't even have those standards. For instance, when we're a league full of working women, eventually, women start family planning. People that are working and then get pregnant and want to have a kid should have full paid maternity leave. It's just something that we should have in society when you're working for a company. And the fact of the matter is when we said, oh, we got full paid maternity leave, everyone's like, whoa, this is not something that is standard. That sort of surprised us. Also, we have working women in our league that, play through, 35, almost up to 40. And so why won't companies step up and say, hey, I know you're giving us all your blood, sweat, and tears, your life, during this time period, we're going to reimburse you. And this is what our CBA got, $60,000 in reimbursements for adoption, surrogacy, fertilization treatments. Like little nuggets like that are major wins for women, not just in sports, but women, period. On top of, like, we had to be creative, bro. We had to be super creative.
Yeah, because people
were like, oh, what are you going to get with the salary? Salary was the number one thing people really cared about. We understood that.
It's easy to compare that to other sports.
And we always talk about it because everyone in society was like, oh, WNBA players want equal pay. They want to make the same as LeBron James, Steph Curry, and all of them. And we're like, no. You're not listening to us. You're not hearing us. We want fair pay. Because if you're saying that these men that go out there and play this product, and our product is the best of our kind, the best women's basketball league in the world, they're worth this, then what are we worth? Now, we also understand the economic realities of our league, so we had to get creative. All right, we upped our salary to almost $220,000 or so for top players. Let's try to get those top players to stay in the States. So guess what? The NBA and the WNBA as partners are going to come in and add an additional compensation up to $300,000 so that those top players who are the marketing arms can stay at the total sum package of about $500,000. Now that is creative. We're sort of getting the NBA to really invest and bet on women, the women that really drive the marketing and the ticketing of the league. But we didn't forget about any person, because if you think about it, everyone's salary is going up. It's the first time our average compensation for a player is in 6 figures. I know I'm going super nerdy on this, but it was a major moment for us. And I think it was just it was a little sad to see that, like, dang, it's groundbreaking, but like really, this is something all women deserve. They deserve to be invested in. They deserve to be bet on. They deserve to have everything that they should have, even considering that sometimes they're primary caregivers and stuff like that. So I know I'm on my pulpit right now, bro, but I didn't even get to the full, like, this is crazy. So we negotiated the entire CBA. What is my background? Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. Here we go. More notifications.
I can't pull it apart.
You can't see anything. It's an emoji person, so that's how incognito I go. We negotiated the entire CBA on WhatsApp, pretty much. And we realized that, hey, in order to get what we want, we had to know the numbers as well as the league did, because we can't go in there asking for something and they say, oh, well, this is how it works. We needed to know how it works so that we can get them to agree to what we wanted. So literally we have this WhatsApp group chat because everyone's around the world. And I think one person had an Android. I don't know who that person was. And
you don't respect green bubbles on this side, man. It's
yeah, I'm not going to put them on blast.
Don't they know they're messing up the vibe? Damn.
Right. We could have just had an iMessage group chat, whatever. But so every day we were just putting out ideas like, hey, how do we get the compensation numbers up? All right, make sure we get in mental health resources. All right, we got to make sure that everyone gets hotels. That's non-negotiable, their own individual rooms. All right, we got to have charter planes just in case we have back-to-backs and you have to fly cross country. Like, we were literally buzzing each other. And I knew it was time for us to do something great when we had so many amazing people step up and join our executive committee. So Nneka's the president, your girl's vice president. We have Lasia Clarendon, who is our #1 activist, and she's in there. Elena Deladon, the reigning WNBA MVP, in there. Sue Bird, need I say less, in there. Carolyn Swords, who has experience with her family on Capitol Hill, is up in there. It just was a tremendous group. Elizabeth Williams, who was our secretary that took notes. Granted, Elizabeth did all of this while she was playing overseas in Turkey, which meant our 6 p.m. conversations, she was probably doing it at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. once a week. So like, this is how committed we were to reflect the 144 amazing, badass women of the W and make sure we didn't let them down.
And you say things like, having a hotel room is non-negotiable, and, charter planes and charter buses. And you hear all these things that when you think of professional sports, or just like any sort of place where you're going somewhere to provide a service, you would think just kind of comes standard. So, I mean, if you don't mind, like, getting into detail, like, if you didn't have these things before, like, what were you doing? Were you like bunking up together? Did you have to pay for your own hotel rooms? Was it
Stop it. All y'all trying to be so messy with our WNBA and our lifestyle. Okay, don't be messy about it. No, but the way it worked was you got your own individual room after you served 5 years in the league. Wow. So 5 years, and then you got your own individual room. Flying, we fly commercial. So you have players like Brittany Griner, who, this is a reason why we have these extenuating circumstances. Brittany Griner flew to the All-Star game, I believe, in coach. Y'all know Brittany Griner, 6'8". Like, you're going to play in an All-Star game where it's not like NBA where you get like 3 days before and then you have the All-Star and then you get 3 days after. No, like, it's a tight weekend. Everyone says it's like All-Star, like 1.5 days. So she's flying there, and coach, like, little things like that go a long way, making sure that everyone, we have, extra legroom seating. Like, if we can't get in first class and if we can't get the charter that time, that's mandatory. Like we said, like, this is not college where you bunk whatever, like, you have 2 people to a room. Yeah. We are professionals, and our league and our standards should reflect that. So now we have individual hotel rooms. We have great situations in which we can get charter planes. Our lifestyle just completely got professionalized, and that was the #1 thing. We want the WNBA players who literally have been playing in this league for 23, 24 years, the legends of the women's game, period, have been going through this, and we did not want them to continue to have to go through that. So it was a lot, but like, we finally got to where we're extremely proud to say, hey, we're WNBA players and we're treated like such.
As you should. And congratulations to all that, man. And I remember when I saw that deal go down, the first thing I noticed, because at that point, like, to me, one of the most famous, like, women's basketball players that wasn't in the WNBA was Gigi Bryant. Like, when you talk about, like, Bleacher Report or House of Highlights, or it's her tragedy happened with Kobe and Gigi, especially as gung-ho as Kobe was for women's sports and equality in women's sports, and how it was almost like a foregone conclusion we were going to see Gigi in the WNBA one day. I would just love to get your personal thoughts on just how that literally affected you, and, just thinking about people that you were laying the groundwork for. A lot of people was looking at her like as being somebody, by the time she's ready to go into the league, it would be the world would be her oyster as a women's basketball player. So I would just love to hear you speak on that.
We were tremendously heartbroken, like the entire world was. Yeah. But I think people just started to realize how much of an ally for women's basketball Kobe was. And I guess we can go in circles talking about how much they meant to the game, but I think people are starting to realize it. I'll just tell you two things. When I was at Stanford, I was a freshman there, and I was one of those corny, I'm still corny and goofy and all that ish, but like I was one of those corny, goofy freshmen. We played at Staples Center in the Pac-10 tournament. My freshman year we were Pac-10. Sophomore year we went to Pac-12. We played for the tournament, in the tournament at Staples. And so we walk into Staples, we're, Stanford, you know what I'm saying? So we had the number 1 seed. So we had the Lakers locker room. And so we pull up into the locker room. Thank you, you know what I'm saying? And we pull up into the locker room, and my coach at Stanford is a Hall of Famer, Tara Vanderveer, one of the greatest of all times, super respected. And so she's like, hey, I come here all the time because, I'm just the boss. Who knows which one is Kobe's locker? And we all start the scavenger hunt, like searching, like, oh, how are we going to know which one's Kobe's locker, blah, blah, blah. We spend too much time doing it. It's about time for us to go hit the court. And she's like, stop, y'all taking way too much time. It's the only locker with an actual lock on it. And we're like, what? Oh, wow. So we go and see, we're like, oh, that's super cool. And so as we're about to run out, I tell a couple people on our team, my sister, our manager, and our point guard, we're the last ones leaving the locker. I was like, yo, if we win the tournament, I'm going to send a note to Kobe. I'm going to put in this locker. And I was like, oh, there she goes. She crazy. All right. We go out. You know what we do? We handle our business. We go and win the tournament. And just as like we're celebrating, everyone's leaving. Again, I'm always the last one. We're about to leave, the same group of people that were last with me. And they're like, Chiney, you forgot about your letter. I was like, oh, y'all, we don't. She's like, Chiney, do it. Just do it. You say you do it. Like, come on now. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, peer pressure. Let's go. So I go, and the only piece of paper I find is this piece of paper that's like our scouting report that's like been thrown up in the trash. So I like grab the end piece of it that hasn't hit the trash yet, and I rip it off, and I get a dry erase marker from the board, and I say, dear Kobe, thank you so much for lending us your locker room. We are such big fans of you. We support you. And I was like, best of luck this season. Sincerely, Chiney Ogwumike and Stanford Women's Basketball. All right. Maybe like 4 or 5 days later, we're back in the Bay. We're in practice. At the end of practice, and granted, this is 2010, 2011. We're in practice, and Coach Tara is like, all right, huddle up. I always do her voice. So it's the end of practice. All right. And then she starts looking around and gets quiet. And then she's like, Chiney. And I was like, oh, gosh, why'd she call my name? Because I was always that one person that was like not filling in forms on time, like doing that type of stuff. And so I was like, dang, like, did I just, like, is the team going to have to run for me? Dang, what did I do this time? Come on, Chiney. And she's like, Chiney. And she just stares. Did you leave a note for Kobe Bryant? And our whole team starts jumping up and down, going crazy. And they're like, so I got a call today from a lady that works in our Stanford athletics department as a trainer. And she passed on a message from Kobe because Kobe got your letter and told her specifically to reach out and to tell us, and specifically you, that proud of you guys winning the tournament. I'm going to be rooting for this year. Strive for excellence in everything that you do. Granted that I was a freshman. He didn't know who I was. He got a dirty, nasty little paper of a girl who literally shoved a little note up into his locker. Most people, I would bet that most people would just not even look at that. But if they saw it, they were like, what is this?
They'll probably think it's garbage. Like, how
trash.
Yeah.
And it all makes sense because now I'm like rewatching detail, and I'm like, this is Kobe Bryant. That was his attention to detail. And he didn't know who I was. I had no reason, but in 2010, when I was a freshman who hadn't accomplished anything yet, not a number 1 pick or anything, for him to sort of give that hope and that cosign of like, yo, I respect champions. I respect what you're doing, from a nasty little note, like that meant the world to me. I didn't even remember that until like a couple days after his memorial. I was like, oh my gosh, I called our manager. I was like, y'all remember this? And she was like, oh my God, I got goosebumps. Like that was Kobe Bryant's attention to detail. And I'll wrap it up with saying that it really pains my heart because I was working, us Nigerians, us Africans, I was working and grinding with ESPN. And I was like, guess what? I'll get to a point where it'll come Super Bowl week. I can just take a week off and chill, go off the grid. But Kobe and his team invited me and a couple other WNBA players to go work out with him that early January. And I was like, man, he's going to be here all summer. Like, let me just finish working and I'll go and do that camp. I regret that so much. I regret it so much, passing on that opportunity, because I was like, oh, at the time we were negotiating with his team to use Mamba Sports Academy to train us for the year. Like, that'll be our practice facility for the Sparks. Right. So I was like, I'm gonna be seeing him all summer long. I'll be just getting all the details, all the info. I'm gonna be with Gigi and everybody. Like, we'll have time for that. Like, let me just like fight and do what these people want me to do, my producers, and then I'll circle back to that. Regret.
It's awful, man. I mean, you still have those memories and you'll always have them with you. But I mean, like, I wouldn't try and live too much with regret with that, because you got that amazing memory with Kobe, and you know, he meant so much to so many people. So it's just, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do?
I know.
It's life. But let's switch topics a little bit. You spoke on it earlier. Right now, for the first time in a long time, we chilling. We ain't doing nothing. But you watch a lot of Netflix. You watch some Tiger King. I need to know your thoughts on this docuseries, because there's a few things I want to ask you, okay? Carole Baskin, all right?
Okay.
1,000% fed her husband to this tiger, right?
So at first I was like, this is sensationalism. Like, this is like, this woman, when you pair her up as you're watching episode 1, 2, and 3, you're like, she is just sound mind, sound reason, like, because you're comparing her constantly to Joe, who's out here like shaking and dancing and
wearing his shirt. Anybody to Joe Exotic. Yeah, anybody seems wrong.
Yeah. Thank you. And then when they finally did that deep dive, I was like, people don't just disappear. and the people that disappear, I'm like watching Narcos or like Ozark. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
And on top of that, she answered the question way too fast too. And she was like, "Oh, you can sardine oil if you want somebody to eat them." I'm like, "Whoa! Like, how do you?" I mean, granted, I know you spend your time with tigers, but that's something like no average human being would know. Like, I would, you gotta at least lie and be like, "Oh yeah, you know, just like sprinkle some salt and pepper or something," like something that isn't necessarily true.
See, my thing was like, it wasn't even how fast she said it. It's more like how calm she is. You know what I mean? Like, she just is like, "Hey guys, so little Tito back here, the tiger just ate his first." I'm like, most people are like, "Hey, yo, Tito, what's good?" You know what I mean? Like, she just was way too calm.
Way too calm.
Way too calm. You know they say you gotta look out for the quiet ones.
It's always the quiet ones. It's always the quiet ones, and it's always the people that seem like they have sound mind, sound body, and yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Joe Exotic, he was the perfect foil for her. He was the perfect way. Like, there was no way he was gonna get out of that like alive or get out of that like scot-free.
He did way too much. Like, you can't be doing those things with those dummies. You were doing way too much. Like, the evidence, you gotta think like evidence. Like, come on, man.
He was doing the most. He was putting out music videos and songs. Like, bro, your paper trail too long. You gotta stop.
He got a voice though. He had a voice.
Listen. I heard a couple of them tracks. Like, not even like, you know, I think maybe like I'm watching it just because it's part of the Netflix special. I'm like, oh, okay, like it's good for a Netflix song, but like honestly, straight up, just like as on its own, a good fucking singer. You know?
Wait, I'm trying to figure out if I can find that one. Yes, here we go. I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, play it.
Killed her. Can't convince me that it didn't happen. Then the Tigers, they snacking. What's happening?
Carole Baskin. I saw that. I'm like, you know what's funny? Like, everyone's like, oh, you know, be so serious because of Corona. Like, we can't be doing too much. I'm like, people are finding different ways to cope, and that ish was hilarious.
Right. That is, I told people Tiger King is the perfect series for the times, okay? Because no matter how bad you feel about yourself, no matter how crazy the world is, ain't nothing crazy. We can all universally watch that and be like,
oh, you crazy.
We crazy, but we ain't that. Like, we ain't feeding tigers to our husbands and having coworkers get their arm ripped off and going back to work the next day and burning down your own film stash.
There's only one time when I got real nervous, and it's when he was talking about having cologne put on his shoe and the. I'm like,
he was already like on the downside as well,
and like he had a. Why didn't we talk about why he had a brace on his leg?
Oh my God. Yeah, nobody ever talks about that. Like there was like a whole period where he just starts like limping and has like a cane that's like extremely unexplained.
Like, did you get bit?
Listen, if he something happened, there's a whole lot of plot holes in that movie. As much as I loved it, I'm like, I heard there was like a something that came on, I think on Vice or some other network about the whole Tiger King thing, but obviously it wasn't as sensational as this one. But like there's a lot of unanswered questions about that. So hopefully
too many.
Yeah, hopefully, man, we get another look at that. Or you know, what do they call it?
Well, no, we will because didn't you see they're coming out with one more episode.
I heard it was the homeboy with the Monster Energy drink hat and the ponytail.
the Hurley, Jeff Lowe.
Jeff Lowe, yeah, he was like, yeah, they got enough for one more episode. I'm like, yo, hook into my veins, bro. I need that. Last couple questions before we get you out of here. I know you're super busy.
Am I?
Being at ESPN and, you know, doing all these shows, I know a lot of people, especially when they first get into that building, they always say they try to attach themselves to somebody and try and get as much mentorship as possible. Who's been like the most important person to you as far as like getting your feet wet in ESPN and being able to navigate those waters as well as you have already?
I've had so many amazing people that have literally been like, here, Chiney, let me help you. Like, this is how we do things. It's funny because a lot of people in my position, I guess, or like my role tend to be like NBA Hall of Famers. So you got like Tracy McGrady, Paul Pierce, Scottie Pippen, Jalen Rose. No offense, not here Hall of Famer, but like you got these heavy hitters.
In the hood. That hairline is
Hall of Fame in the hood. You're right. So like you have these guys that are Hall of Famers or known, and it's your girl Chiney Ogwumike in the mix with the rest of them. You know what I mean? And so I was doubting myself a lot because I was like, why did they pick me to do this job? Why am I here? And then I started realizing, I was like, you know what? I am that one person that will watch the entire game. I will go to the analytics. I will talk to my friends who are, it's like our age, rising generation of hoopers, Damian Lillard, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, like the list, like my McDonald's class, Kyrie Irving, Harrison Barnes, like I have this generation pretty much unlocked because we all grew up and hooped together. And so I started realizing, you know what? Like, this is why they saw me. And it's unfortunate that being a woman and also WNBA player sort of made me create this doubt. But then when I realized why I'm here, I was like, okay. And I got super curious. So then I'd usually go and like sit with the producers. I'd sit with the sound techs. I'd sit with like the people, the cameraman. And I just learned people and their craft. And I think that really helped me because now I have a holistic understanding of like, this is how TV goes. This is what looks good. This is how people do things. But the people that really helped me the most, first of all, was the women, because I had a lot I needed to learn because I was just ball is life. You know, I literally I go to practice and pull up to the studio and like think I was good to go. Where do I buy clothes? Wait, I don't buy clothes. I got to rent them. Renting is easier. Like, you know, all these little things that I didn't know. The women put me to the side in the makeup room. Were like, okay, Chiney. And also I had to do some educating myself because when I got there were not many women per se of color. And so I had some struggles on air. And I was like, oh, hell no. I'm not going to let any other woman of color, go through it. Makeup. I was like, I literally brought it. I was like, this is my shade. This is what works for me. You can't put gray on my eyeshadow because that makes me look ashy. You know what I mean? Like,
I had the same issues too, where I'm just like, yo, I know I'm a dude, but like, I don't want to be like that extra dude. Like, listen, man, like,
but you
I'm getting these Instagram comments and it's talking about my foundation. Like, this ain't it.
Wait till you go viral for your hairline. Ugh. Like, that's the worst thing you ever want to do. Thank you. Like, my best friend was like, why'd you just, why'd you wear a cap? I was like, girl, I didn't know. I was just learning. Like, I imagine 2014 to 2016, like, just hooping and not even like worrying about myself and then being thrown on air. And so I'll never forget Sage Steele, probably for like 45 minutes after one of her sports centers, we just were talking and she just started spilling and just like giving me her personal life and her struggles and her successes. And I'm like, wow, thank you. Jemele Hill obviously paved the way for me before she left. Jemele was leaving as I was really coming on full time. Cari Champion sat me down. We did some kind of remote event, I think in the South, I can't remember which state. And she was like, Chiney, and this was the time I was going through my contract negotiations to go full time. She's like, Chiney, this is how much I make. this is the number you deserve. And I was like, really? Like, that's what? Okay. And she's like, no. I know this person and I know this person, and you deserve this. The work you're doing, you're here 3 to 4 days a week. You're here in the morning all the way till 1 a.m. You're driving, like you're doing this. You deserve this. These women held my hand. Like the #1 talent recruiter for talent, to come into ESPN onto the shows. She was the one saying, Chiney, there's an opening here. We're looking for a strong female voice. I believe in you. Go on SportsCenter tomorrow and be an NBA analyst. So I was like, hold on. What? Like, wow. And these people were literally like saying, Chiney, you can do this. And this is how you do this. Doris Burke, I remember I was in LA and I think we were in, like, it was a day off in between games. And I was meeting a producer and she was calling the Lakers game that night. She's like, Chiney, come early, come join us in our breakfast meeting and sit and see how we do our work. And we'll just hang out. I want to check on you. Like, people naturally just being givers has helped me so much, especially the women. But it helps to also have male allies. And a lot of people don't realize, like, we have a lot of, I don't want to say it like Liz Cambage said it first. So I feel like, whatever she says, she got her own way of saying things. Yeah. We have a lot of like closeted women's basketball fans, meaning women's basketball fans that they support us, they watch our games, but they're not like public about it. Right. They haven't like fought for us and said like, this is what I love, because a lot of people feel like it's socially acceptable to just denigrate the WNBA or women's female athletes or female in sports in general. All you have to do is look at an Instagram comment with a woman posted on a sports account. Like, that tells you a lot. But, it's just been great to have ESPN. There's so many males also that like have literally been like, yes, Chiney. Like the first time I went on First Take and sat in studio with Stephen A. and Max, this is about a year or so ago. Mm. First thing that Stephen A. says is, you work hard, like on national TV, you work hard. I love your work. You're killing it. And I'm like, wow, he didn't have to do that. He could have done that behind closed doors. But the reason why he did it on air is so people know that I respect you and we should do the same in society. So to me, I'm like, hey, y'all can say whatever you want about his arguments, but that guy is good in my book. You know what I mean? So like, and then even Max Kellerman, like I was with my friend Kayla. He's like, let's go to lunch. Took us to lunch. Like, guys get it. And it just is sad because sometimes like it's we hoop. Literally the first one to text us, like, good game, or like, look, Dame Lillard, like, yo, girl. I remember I was playing Vegas and I got so mad we lost. And I was fuming, and Dame came to that game and he was just sitting there laughing at me because he's like, yo, I haven't seen you like this. Like, you Aggie. He's like, this is kind of cool. I played New York. We played in New York, and Donovan Mitchell, I did one event with him, and then he came to the game. And then he was like, yo, I didn't know you were like physical. I didn't know you were a banger. I was like, you must not have been watching like our games because, I be in the mix, bro. And then ever since then, he's like, it's just a different energy. And so there are a lot of men and women that have helped support us on and off the court. And I just wish we had those stories out there more than the haters but eventually we're going to get there. And I think we're getting there soon.
Yeah, I mean, obviously now.
Oh, wait, we got to talk about Schultz.
Yeah, we don't even. I mean, listen, I've been trying to set up that one-on-one game for a long time. But
it's gonna happen.
We'll sweep that under the rug. We don't even need to do all that. That's not even.
You're right. We don't need to do it, but I wish I did. I really wish I did.
You would have. He's not good. Like, he's not like, I don't know why he does these things where he talks up his athletic accomplishments like he's I'm like, yo, she will wash you, bro. Like, it's not like she's just
what's the most annoying thing? Like, hearing all the social beef about that house, like, yeah, I'll beat you, bro, whatever. And then like meeting him in person, where were we? At All-Star? Like LA?
Was it Charlotte?
Was it Charlotte? Yeah, Charlotte somewhere. I think it was Charlotte. One at All-Star, and right. I was like, he's sweet. What? He's nice. I kind of like him. What?
He's a good guy, man. He's a good guy, but it's just you know his shtick. You know that they got.
Yeah, I know. I do.
So, I mean, like just adding to that, like obviously you said you get all this support from true All-Stars, Hall of Famers, like professional Hall of Famers, like from the broadcasting world, like, man. And obviously, then you go on social media or you look at the YouTube comments or the Instagram comments. And I feel like a lot of people tend to struggle with not always hearing the cheers and the rah-rahs from complete strangers. Yeah. And you have to deal with that a lot. How do you deal with it?
So it's hard because like you learn to not care. You know, sometimes you'll let it mess you up. And I think that's in the beginning stages of like, you have something that you care so much about. You're literally a women's basketball player, or, you know, you're on TV, a broadcaster, and you prepare, you give your all to it. And then people feel comfortable. It's funny, like out there on social media, there'll be a lot of people like, yeah, she's doing her thing, but they don't go and tweet that. The people that really want to hate are the ones that are very motivated to tweet. So always keeping those things in perspective. But there was a time when like I'd get like 100 great comments, and then there was one, and that one stuck in my head. And at some point I was just like, shoot, like I'm still here. Like I'm still doing what I do. Your one comment where you think I'm gonna suck, and the reason why you think I stink is because of what I look like. Like you throw that to the side, but like, oh, you think that one comment is like, oh, is that what everyone thinks? No, because guess what? They're calling you to come back. You have another season to play. You just signed a new CBA. You just signed a new TV. You know what I mean? Like you realize that I'm still here above all of that. And then you get confident, and then you get comfortable. And that's when you start, you know, finding out your own power. So it's been, you know, it's an evolution. We all are human. Like you still see the biggest of celebrities, you know, having to deal with certain issues just because they read a certain comment, and it can trigger you. But I think it's like also surrounding yourself with people that believe in you, you know, your friends, your family, that can always set you straight and say, girl, you like, I love it when people say, remember who the F you are. Like, remember who you are. And, you know, in this African house, you get that quick. Like, that's when you start
my mom, listen, my mom, you know, I'm an emo Pisces. So sometimes I'm like, Mom, you don't know. She's like, if you don't stop and remember who the hell you are, and I didn't raise no PhD and other things I'm saying. Like it's my mom gets real vulgar with it when she sees me sad, but it's out of love. That's how Nigerian parents show love, man. They push you.
Absolutely.
So last question I want to ask you, Chiney. Obviously, you've had a lot of this time to kind of like, you know, decompress and see where you want to take your career and everything like that. I'm going to give you a magic wand. You get to wave it around. And in the next 5 years, where would you like to see yourself as a professional, as an executive for the WNBA, as a player? Where do you see all of that taking you?
You know, it's so funny. A lot of people ask me that, like, what do you want? Where do you want to go? Like, who do you want to be? I have never modeled myself after someone. There's only been one person. Like I have amazing in my family. Like I've got my sister. She like she cooler than me. Like y'all got the wrong one. Like I'm the corny one. My little sisters are amazing. I was gonna say badass young women. One doing her MBA, one about to go to medical school at some point. So like I've really been surrounded by people that like never tell me that anything I want to do is crazy. Like ever since I've been young, they're like, Chiney, like they just like go for it. And so all of a sudden it manifested into a TV, you know, broadcaster role. But honestly, Kaz, I don't know. I just know that I stick to what I'm passionate about. And I'm passionate about, you know, my identity. I am Nigerian, American, female, athlete, and nerd. And all of that took me to Stanford by saying yes, to the WNBA, to ESPN. I have no clue what comes after that, but I would love a platform like this right here, which I'm like, this is so much fun. I would love a platform for our young generation to continue to talk and to discuss, because I feel like in society right now, we're so black and white. You know, we're so like one side versus the other, instead of having healthy, constructive conversations where we can all meet in the middle. So finding a platform where we can, you know, and also like the world is not just one thing anymore. For a while, it's like basketball players should be basketball players. And then we completely transitioned out of that to now like LeBron more than an athlete. Like what else are you? Because sports is an intersection of so many different things. It brings so many people together. It's fashion, it's music, it's, you know, it's obviously like hoops or football or whatever it is. It's so many different things. So just having a versatile platform where we can talk about that and have fun with that and be ourselves, but also like represent our young generation, bro. We the millennials, like, you know, we ain't Gen Z, but we can speak to Gen Z though. You know, like we can help them out.
I'm still trying to get my TikTok game up. So once I get my TikTok game ready, then maybe I don't know.
So I have a TikTok. I did not want a TikTok. My little sister is great on TikTok.
I'm holding out. I still haven't got one yet.
I said, I was like, oh, okay, like quarantine, I'm gonna do one a day because I got all this time, bro. I've only done 2. And one of them included my whole family, so it was like super easy. And the other one was Savage, which everyone was doing. So like,
Right.
you know, like it was easy.
I saw the what was it? The challenge. I think it was the WNBA players too, right?
Oh yeah. So shout out to
dope. How'd that come together?
Dearica Hamby was like, hit me because that's my homie. She's my friend. She hit me, like, girl, let's do this. And I was just like, I don't want to be dressing. I don't want to be doing this. But she's my dog. And so she was super passionate about it. So I was like, all right, we'll do it. And so she's like, will you edit it? I was like, all right, cool, I'll edit it. And she's like, okay, I asked this person. I was like, I'm gonna ask these few people. And of course, TY came in last. And TY was like, I want to be last. And I was like, girl, I'm already last because like I did my thing and I ended it like a certain way thinking I was going to be last because I'm editing it. She's like, no, I want to be last. Like, all right, bet, whatever. And so we put it all together. It was fun. I mean, I'm glad a lot of people saw it just because people tend to think WNBA players fit a certain mold. And that sort of showed that we don't. You know, we are women. You know, in the WNBA, we have like, what is that song? Every woman. Like we have every kind of woman in the WNBA. Yeah. But it's just so funny because it's like annoying because like I never speak on my personal situations or anything. But like everyone's like, oh, well, I'm like, I'm one of them. I'm looking for a man, so let me put it straight.
Hey, listen, Renee, that video came out. I seen so many people like with the eyeball emojis.
I know, it's so funny, but it's annoying because like they want to put us into this one box, and so D was like, "Hey, let's jump out of this box and show people." And so I was just like, "All right," and it's just funny because they're like, "Oh, well," I'm like, I really wanted to comment back and be like, "Ooh, like, hey." Like,
well, you could. I mean, like, listen, you can't act like you don't see it right now because it's like we know you home, we know you ain't doing nothing.
Right? It just is so funny.
Stop doing right now.
I know. It's so tough for me because like it's so funny, like being 28 years old and like people like a lot of people will pull up and be like, oh hey, so like you're WNBA, like so are you? I'm like, hello, like I like dudes, like you know, like, but it's so hard. It's so hard for me. It's so hard.
I mean, listen, with that in mind, I mean, here, I'm gonna give you the floor, okay? Your shot, go ahead. Let people know. You always say people don't get to know your personal side.
Yes, I can't stand you. This is why you can't do podcasts with your friends because they get you spilling way too much of your own tea. All I'm saying is tall, dark, and handsome. Emphasis on the tall. That's cool. I mean, at this point,
do we have height requirements? I know you're 6'2", 6'3".
I know, it's so funny. My mom's like, Janae, you know, because I'm like, it's so funny. My mom's just like, you know, you're 28 years old. You need to quit being picky. Like, you need to marry, like, you need to try your height, like, even shorter. Like, she just is desperate at this point. And I'm like, Mama, your husband, you're 5'7". You married 6'4". And you telling me to go shorter? Like, what?
Listen, you're what we call in the business a breeder, Janae. So there's no way we're going to let that 6'3" go to waste. We gotta. We need the Nigerian national team to be popular for the next couple of years. So.
I'm dead. You're too wild. No, I'm good. You know, I'm healthy. I'm in a relationship with myself, and if a man materializes that happens to be great for me, I'm cool with it. But until then, I'm gonna keep killing the game.
Well, fellas, the DMs are open, is what she's saying. So shoot your shot, go for it.
I can't believe we are here right now.
You knew we was gonna get here. This is why you say no to everybody else, so we can have these combos because we here with it.
This is tragic.
Janae, you're one of the most sweet, professional, hardworking people I know. I love seeing you rise. I love every time I see you on TV, I get gassed. And you always for us. So thank you so much. Thank you for everything. Stay safe out there.
Thank you, sir.
If there's anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Bro, nothing. I need to go.
Check your DMs, basically. After this drop, it's gonna be flooded. I'm gonna make sure we put out this specific clip right here.
You better put out anything but this clip. Janae has deactivated her account.
Listen. I just want a seat at the wedding. That's all. I don't need to be a best man.
You good, bro. You good. You know you good.
Part of the bridal shower, whatever. I just want to pull up. I just want to pull up. That's all.
I got you.
Chiney Ogwumike of ESPN and WNBA. Thank you so much for coming on Say Less. You stay safe. And it's always great talking to you, my friend.
Right back at you, Kaz.
All righty. Stay safe. Take care.
Thank you. I'm dead.